Hey everybody, we made it through Unit 1. Yesterday was the end of Unit 1. We are now on the first day of Unit 2 in our New Mexico history class. So take a deep breath, give yourself a pat on the back. I'm still working through providing feedback on the reading tweets assignment and also on the Unit 1 timeline assignment. And so I will be doing that as soon as I can this morning. So you should see scores and feedback on all of that by lunchtime today, just to let you know where I'm at with things. Also, one of the main things that I try to do as an instructor is provide meaningful feedback that will help you to ask new questions about what we've been studying, um, and or improve for the next time around, the next set of assignments that we'll be working on, so that you'll continue to deepen your ability to analyze and think critically about the past. As you've probably gathered somewhat from the readings for Unit 1, I am a historian who sees history as being part of the humanities rather than part of the social sciences. I'm more of a qualitative than quantitative historian. Um, I focus on stories and their significance and how we have created different narratives about the past over time. All that to say, I wanted to show you something I've been working on. It came out of a digital pedagogy lab. It's a conference that I went to a couple weeks back online. And what we did in that conference was we worked on writing 100-word stories. And so this is something kind of similar to why I like to use Twitter, or at least one of the reasons I like to have us use Twitter, is that it forces us to write concisely and to think about the work that each of the words that we use is doing, so that we can express ourselves in concise and clear terms. So it's actually a good writing skill to work on. And so as I was reading through the discussion on what is history, and I really loved so many of your responses. You've all thought very carefully and been very thoughtful about what history is and how we study it. Of course, it's hard to have a single definition, but I really appreciate the way that so many of you thought about how our understanding of the past shapes who we are in the present and where we can go in the future. As we think about primary and secondary sources, something I want to emphasize is that primary sources can often be more biased than secondary sources. And what I mean by that is they can be far more limited in perspective, because primary sources are usually created by people who were nearest to the events that we're trying to study. So, nearest in chronological time. They may have witnessed or observed or participated in those events and also written about those events, or given an oral tradition, or made a video, or written in a diary. I mean, there's a number of ways that people can record their perspectives on past events, and historians have become more and more creative about trying to find unique viewpoints and varied viewpoints on the past. And so that's something that we should be looking for as we study the past. But it also points to one of the big problems with the study of history. The field of history itself is that historical evidence isn't objective. It's not something that's sort of sterile and set in place and static. But instead, historical evidence is all of those things that I just mentioned. It's stuff that humans created, imperfect, incomplete, biased, and again, not even always intentionally, but just based on a person's own beliefs, worldviews, ways of thinking about the world around them. And that's something that we have to think about with ourselves, about how we interpret and study the past. So, again, all that to say, I wanted to point you toward a different way of working on history. So I'm going to show you my blog and some examples of 100-word stories that I wrote in response to, or sort of in response to, also inspired by your thoughts on historical study. So I'll post that here as a link in this announcement. I'll also put it in the discussion thread about what is history, I should say. And if you would like to try to write some 100-word stories, you could do that either as a replacement for a reading tweets assignment. So it's a different approach you could take. And again, I would want you to really be careful about actually getting to 100 words and thinking about um, those, how you've chosen the words and what work they're doing in your story to express something about the history that we're working with. Um, and so again, that's an option that you have. Also, if you're interested in doing a project, thinking about the final project that isn't an Adobe Spark project, you can talk to me about that. I'm open to ideas about doing other things that might be of more interest to you. I mean, I do like to encourage you to use digital tools because that's something that's becoming even more and more important as we've lived through the pandemic and gone more and more online. It's a great opportunity for us to become more versed in digital tools that are out there and how we can use them in productive and even inspiring ways. So, all that to say, let me know how things are going. Let me know how you might want to approach showing what you're learning about the past. I'm really looking forward to seeing how our collaboration comes together on the timeline over the next couple weeks. So, again, that's just me reflecting on where we're at this morning. Thanks for listening. I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you soon.